Hello and welcome to the West Yorkshire Football Show live. We're chatting all things Halifax Town, and I'm delighted to say joining us from the Halifax Courier is Tom Scargill. Tom, how are we doing, mate?
Very good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. We were just trying to work out before we came on live how long it is since you've been on the show. I think about 3 weeks, and it was pre the Wrexham game. First of all, I do need to have a quick chat with you about that. I know it's kind of old news, but it's still great news. What a magnificent result that was. It must have been incredible.
Yeah, fantastic. Very unexpected. Just the Halifax really rose to the occasion. It's a brilliant occasion. Great to see all four sides of the Shay in use and fantastic atmosphere. And Halifax were fantastic on the day. Really kind of played with a zest and an enthusiasm. 1-0 down at half time. They've done okay, but you're kind of thinking, Wrexham will got exactly where Halifax where they'd want them, and they'll just see it out. But then they kind of exploded out the blocks second half to Halifax, inspired by Millie Ali, and they got it back to 1-1. You're thinking, oh well, maybe they'll get a point, and then they take the lead and get the third. It was just intoxicating, really, and the Halifax fans are absolutely loving it. The share was bouncing, and it was almost kind of like the rebirth of the team, really, and. It's been such a hard season, so many kind of negatives and tough times, low points. So it was just a really kind of feel-good day for everyone at the club, and just a nice day for everyone to experience after what's been a kind of fairly forgettable season, at least in the league.
Yeah, it feels that. And getting to the FA Trophy final, it's just kind of sparked something up because they've been banging the goals in, not against Bromley, unfortunately, on Tuesday, but it's then scored 3 consecutive goals, 3 games. What sparked off this goal scoring?
Millie Ali, partly. The late goal he got at Altrincham has been kind of replicated. He got a couple against Wrexham, got one against York, which was an absolute beauty. Manny, Disarubwe and Jamie Cook have formed a really good front three. They're kind of the first choice front three at the moment. Cook's work rate is really infectious, and I think that spreads throughout the team. I think it's just kind of been a gradual building of confidence and many, many little building blocks along the way. Not kind of one massive thing, I don't think. I think the 3-4-3 is taken a bit of time to get used to, but that is really bedded in now, and consistency of selection has helped. Harvey Gilmore in midfield has been excellent. Jack Hunter has really found his feet now alongside him. The two of them in central midfield were excellent against Wrexham, and since then have been superb as a midfield pair. The wing backs, Golden and Capello, young lads, but really flourishing, really blossoming. So it's kind of almost kind of 11 individual performances, all kind of gradually getting better week by week. And, it's a team that's kind of greater than the sum of its parts. And it's been a real team effort these last few weeks to haul themselves up the table and really kind of generate some that feel-good factor around the club.
Yeah, because it's not too long ago that the feet were pretty close to the fire, wasn't it? There were only a few points at those relegation places, and there were a lot of pressure on Millington at the time. And you just fast forward a few weeks and how it can change. They followed it up. That Wrexham game beat York 3-0, terrific away win, and then they played Maidstone on last Saturday, and they won 3-0. You weren't overly impressed with the performance, though. Would that be fair to say?
No, I think first half was turgid against Maidstone. Reminded me a lot of when they lost at home to Scunthorpe, who I think Scunthorpe were bottom of the table as well at the time, early this year. That was a dreadful performance, and the first half wasn't too dissimilar. They were 1-0 up, but it was very hard work of it. Second half, they came out of the shells a bit more and eased away from Maidstone. But in a way, that's kind of a backhanded compliment because it shows that the last few games before Maidstone standards really had risen, and it was noticeable that they had kind of fallen off those standards against Maidstone. So, it's to their credit really that it's kind of the situation's completely flipped on its head, and now kind of average or below par performances are standing out like a sore thumb because the last few weeks has been so good.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to Bromley then, 1-1. What were your overriding thoughts with that game?
First half, probably one of the best halves of football I've seen from them this season. Absolutely fantastic. Really vibrant. Kind of a lot of reminders of how they were kind of first half of last season under Wild. A lot of kind of one-touch, 1-2s, sharp, quick football, really good. Should have been more than 1-0 up. And that's ultimately, I think, that where it's cost them the 3 points. Millington pointed to a bad refereeing decision, but for me, I think they probably needed to be more than 1-0 up at half-time, and kind of really hammer home their dominance. Second half, Bromley were never really going to be as bad as they had been first half, and they did claw their way back into it, typically of Bromley, because they're such a dogged side. But plenty of positives to take. I'd definitely focus on the positives from that game. Bromley are fighting for the playoffs, and Halifax were more than a match for them.
And you mentioned there Millington not happy with the decision to award a free kick, which led to the goal. I mean, what did you make of it? Were you in agreement with him?
Yeah, I think overall the referee didn't cover himself in glory at all, or his officials. Overall, it was a lot of questionable decisions. There was a decision where Millington got booked near the end for a ball that the linesman had judged to have gone out for a throw deep in the Bromley half, which wasn't, and would have given Halifax a good attacking chance. And that was one example of many where you were kind of left kind of scratching your head at some of the decisions. But I think allied to that, I think the goal could have been defended better, and the manner of the defending for the goal was kind of emblematic of how Halifax came off the gas a bit second half. First half, it was absolutely 100 miles an hour, total commitment, giving it absolutely everything. And maybe it was inevitable second half. They're not going to be able to keep that level of intensity, especially because games have been coming so thick and fast this month. But yeah, perhaps an avoidable goal to concede, and maybe a tad frustrating that it wasn't a 30-yard screamer. It was a tap in after a ball into the box that cost them 3 points.
Yeah, absolutely. Only 3 games left in the league this season. Of course, there's going to be the FA Trophy in a month's time against Gateshead. What can we expect from these next 3 games? I mean, it's Dagenham and Redbridge on Saturday. Then you've got Woking on Tuesday. Is the idea finish on a high, so you're going into that final full of confidence?
Very much so. I think that's easier said than done because all 3 teams are above Halifax, and Woking and Eastleigh are playoff contenders. Woking have had a fantastic season. Eastleigh as well, finishing higher than I thought they would. But yeah, I think Halifax can go into these last 3 games on a really good run. I think they've taken 13 points from 15. I think they've got the best form in the league over the last 5 games, which is some turnaround. And I think they'll go in. They won't have any fear about the 3 opponents. I think they'll fancy their chances in each of those games. But I think obviously the overriding importance is Wembley. That's the big priority. And with Wembley in mind, I think they want to just carry on this momentum now. Even if results don't quite go their way, I think the big thing is the standard of performances has to be maintained. And Millington has said it himself about ensuring that work rate doesn't drop, ensuring the attitude remains the same, the levels of commitment, the energy. Andy Woodman, the Bromley manager, said before Tuesday night's game that he thought Town would have one eye on Wembley, and there was absolutely no chance that was the case. You'd have thought Halifax were fighting for their lives or going for the title. It was just absolute total commitment. So as tempting as it might be in the back of some players' minds to kind of save themselves for Wembley, I think they've just got to keep on this treadmill of really throwing themselves into it, giving it everything they've got, and making sure that they are, going into the big game at Wembley in good form, in good spirits. I think that could be really important because Gateshead have been a brilliant run themselves recently, and sure Gateshead will be thinking the same, that they just want to pick as many points and as many positives as they can before the end of the season.
Yeah, it's funny that they've picked up there as well, haven't they? They've been doing really well recently. Must be a massive boost, and probably players fighting for places, trying to prove themselves, make sure they're in that starting 11.
Yeah, probably even more so for Gateshead, because I think they've got 4 or 5 players who were ineligible who'll be dropping out of their team for Wembley. So there's probably more places up for grabs at Gateshead than there is Halifax. I think it wouldn't say as much, but I would suspect that Millington knows the lion's share of his side for Wembley because the team selection has been so consistent over the last few weeks. I think most fans could probably guess most of the team. That's not to say that others couldn't force their way in. You've got Harker, who's got 2 in 2. If he starts again at Dagenham and scores again, then he's starting to veer on kind of being a bit undroppable. Matty Warburton looked really sharp first half against Bromley. If he gets another start and plays well again, then he's giving himself a bit more of a chance. Jack Senior's got a bit of an injury, so we'll have to wait and see how bad that is. So you never know. But with everyone fit, I think Millington probably would know most of his preferred 11.
Yeah, absolutely. And fingers crossed it can all go well to them. Would you say, I mean, obviously if they win the trophy and they get a decent finishing position, especially compared to where they were earlier in the season, would you say it's a pretty, it's in good hands with Millington going towards next season and building towards that?
I think he's still got things to prove. I think the recent form and reaching the final has won over a few doubters among the fan base. I think there are still those who are to be convinced. I think the big thing for me is the recruitment over the summer, because I think that's what has really kind of come back to bite them this season, where just not enough of the signings have worked out for one reason or another. And when you're working with Halifax's budget, you've got to have more of a hit rate than they have this season. So he's signed some good players. Adam Senior's been a brilliant signing. Max Wright looked good until he got injured. So I'm not quite sure kind of what went wrong last summer, but recruitment is massive. If he can get that right over the summer, Millington seems to know what he wants. He seems to have identified where it kind of went wrong in the market and how it can be remedied. So if that is right and they get the players they want to fit into how they want to play, then I'd like to think that there have been enough positives over the last few weeks that haven't kind of made you forget the lows of the season, but have kind of maybe put enough credit in the bank there to think, okay, the ship has been steadied. It's now going in the right direction. Let's see how it goes, at the start of next season.
Good stuff. Well, if you've enjoyed this video, please pop a like on it and also subscribe to the channel for more content on Halifax Town. Tom, pleasure as always. Thanks for joining us, mate.
No worries, mate. Cheers.
And we'll speak again soon.